Hola, ¿cómo están, my compañeros? So, the very last day they have for any sort of legal work or challenges is December 8th. That is the very, very last day that we have as either a Trump supporter or a Biden supporter to challenge and to assert your position on the states. And then immediately the states will select electors, and 6 days later, the electors will vote. So the only hope one would have in order to push back that date of safe harbor, in order to give more time for legal work and more time for challenges, the only hope one might have is to have some sort of legislation, either through the Senate or the House, to push back that date of safe harbor. Well, there is legislation like that in the Senate, and there is legislation like that in the House. The legislation in the Senate has been presented by Marco Rubio, and the legislation in the House has been presented by David E. Price. My personal feeling is that Rubio will not go through, and that perhaps this House resolution might get some traction, and then over the next news cycles, we'll be seeing Nancy Pelosi as she positions and postures herself in a way that makes it seem as if she's spearheading a coalition of government in order to tackle some serious issues. And can you imagine that if we have this situation rectified, if President Trump is made the president and he is vindicated, I think one of the reactions will be, I think that people will be in love with the government to an extreme degree. I think that we will trust the government. I think that perhaps that is part of the reset, to tell us, oh, look, well, we can correct ourselves. Look, we can make a mistake and we can fix it. So it's just one thing to keep an eye out for. I love Trump. I love him a lot, but I just am curious about the next few news cycles, because according to this congressional research report, we have two pieces of legislation, one in the House, one in the Senate. And I personally just have been watching Nancy Pelosi. She said she's ready to take her position in helping decide the president. She said something to that matter, or something to that effect, a couple weeks ago. And so the Marco Rubio legislation is S4517. And it's very simple. It's a bill that pushes back safe harbor, and he submitted it, actually. Let's see what we got here. This is an amazing website if you're looking up legislation. There's something that odds of passage. The bill has not yet attracted any co-sponsors. It awaits a potential vote in the Senate. Odds of passage are low in a Democratic-controlled House. See, that's what I'm thinking. The odds of the Senate passing is low in a Democratic-controlled House, and it needs to before it can pass in the Senate. I'm pretty sure. But regardless, I really do believe that Marco Rubio will not be able to get his legislation through, and that perhaps H.R. 8492 will be Count Every Vote Act of 2020 presented by David E. Price. Perhaps the Democrats will come to the rescue, which would be interesting, because it would be along the lines of a great reset. I would like for this situation to be rectified, and I would like for us to be able to know that we can trust the process. But truthfully, I feel, you can only trust yourself. I guess that might be the case. No, you can trust the Lord with all your heart. Our King, our Father. That is one that you can always trust, always on your knees with your hands and eyes to the sky. I love the Lord. Well, it's going to be interesting these next couple news cycles, so keep your eye out. Keep your eye out. Electoral College timeline, December 8th. If they don't pass this legislation, then we'll have an answer by the middle of December. But if they pass this legislation, if you see Nancy Pelosi out touting her new speakership and touting her pushing this legislation through to count every vote, I don't know, it could happen.